You get in a car accident, go to the hospital, and the medical bills start piling up fast. But how does all of that get paid when you're already dealing with so much? In this video, I'll explain how medical bills get covered after a car crash in Florida so you know who owes what, when they owe it, and how to make sure you're not stuck paying out of pocket. Hey, Attorney Patrick here from Hale Law. If you or somebody you know were injured and want to speak with an attorney you can trust, call me at 1-800-800-1414. The call is free and confidential. We will walk you through how to fight like Hale so you can get the maximum compensation you deserve. Florida handles car accident medical bills differently than most states, and if you don't understand the system, it will cost you. Florida is what's called a no-fault state. That means after a crash, your own insurance pays your initial medical bills, regardless of who causes the accident. This coverage comes from something called Personal Injury Protection, or PIP, and every Florida driver is required to carry at least $10,000 of it. Here's how PIP actually works. It covers 80% of your reasonable medical expenses and 60% of your lost wages up to your policy limit. So right away, you're not getting full coverage. That 20% gap on medical bills and 40% gap on lost wages adds up fast, especially if your injuries need extended treatment. But it gets more restrictive than that. If your injuries aren't classified as an emergency medical condition, your PIP benefits cap at just $2,500 instead of that full to $10,000. And that means a doctor has to determine the severity of your injuries early on. And that determination directly controls how much coverage you receive. And here's the deadline that catches more people off guard than anything else. Florida law requires you to seek that medical treatment within 14 days of the accident to qualify for PIP benefits at all. You miss that window and your insurer can deny your claim entirely. That clock starts on the date of the crash, not when your symptoms appear. So even if you feel fine for a week and then you start experiencing pain, you could already be running out of time. Now let's talk about what happens when PIP runs out, because for any serious injury, $10,000 disappears fast. A single emergency room visit with imaging and a few weeks of follow-up care can definitely exhaust that limit completely. So where do you turn next? Your private health insurance or employer coverage can step in as secondary coverage. It handles accident-related treatment the same way it handles any other medical issue, subject to your deductibles, copays, and network rules. But there's a catch you need to know about. If your health insurer pays your accident-related bills, they may later claim a right to be reimbursed out of any settlement you receive from the at-fault driver. This is called a subrogation lien, and I'll explain why that matters in a moment. Some drivers also carry something called MedPay, or medical payments coverage, as part of their auto policy. MedPay covers that gap PIP leaves behind, that 20% of medical bills PIP doesn't pay. It applies regardless of who caused the accident. Limits typically range from $1,000 to $5,000, and not everyone has it because it's optional in Florida. But if you do, make sure your insurer applies it. And if the driver who hits you has no insurance or not enough insurance to cover your losses, your own uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage, known as UM/UIM, can fill that gap. That's optional coverage in Florida, but for anyone who carries it, it provides a critical safety net when the at-fault party can't pay. So at what point can you actually go after the driver who causes the crash? Florida's no-fault system limits your ability to sue unless your injuries meet a specific legal threshold. You can step outside the no-fault system and file a personal injury claim against the at-fault driver if your injuries involve significant and permanent loss of a bodily function, permanent injury within a reasonable degree of medical probability, significant and permanent scarring or disfigurement or death. Meeting that threshold opens the door to recovering the full value of your medical bills, your lost income, and your pain and suffering from the person who actually caused the accident. Now, proving you meet this standard requires solid medical documentation and often testimony from your treating physicians, which is why keeping detailed records from day one matters so much. Now here's part of the process that most people never think about until it directly affects their settlement check: medical liens. When healthcare providers treat your accident injuries and insurance doesn't fully cover that cost, those providers can place a lien on your future settlement. That means they have a legal right to be paid out of your recovery before you see a dollar. Several types of liens can attach to your settlement. Your health insurer may file a subrogation lien to recoup what they paid. Hospitals that provided your emergency or inpatient care can file their own liens. If Medicare or Medicaid covered any of your treatment, the federal government will seek reimbursement. And if you received care under a letter of protection where a doctor agreed to treat you now and get paid from your settlement later on, that provider is also in line. Here's why this matters so much. If no one negotiates those liens down, they can consume a huge part of your settlement. Lien negotiation is one of the most overlooked steps in resolving a Florida car accident case, and it often makes a significant difference in how much money actually ends up in your pocket. An experienced attorney knows how to negotiate these liens aggressively, so you keep more of what you're owed. Finally, the records you keep throughout this entire process directly determine how much you recovered. You need itemized bills from every provider, emergency room, doctors, therapists, pharmacies. You need explanation of benefit statements from both your PIP insurer and your health insurer showing what was paid and what's still outstanding. Save every receipt for out-of-pocket costs like prescription copays, medical devices, and mileage to appointments. And keep a personal journal documenting your pain levels, your limitations, and how your injuries are affecting your daily life. Every undocumented expense and every gap in your medical treatment history becomes an opening for the insurance company to reduce what they owe you. Detailed records close those openings and give your attorney the evidence needed to pursue your full compensation. If you've been hurt in a car accident in Florida, medical bills are piling up faster than you can keep track, call us at 1-800-800-1414. The consultation is free and confidential, and will help you understand exactly who should be paying your medical bills and make sure you're not left covering costs that aren't yours to carry. When you're hurt, go to Hale. And if this video was helpful, hit subscribe for more legal guidance and check out our next video.